Some good news for Kansas City. They got back their rookie left tackle, Josh Simmons. He was away for 4 games for personal matters, and now he is back with the Chiefs, was at the practice facility today as the Chiefs are on a bye, so no game for them this week, and this gives Josh Simmons a chance to ramp up a little bit and get back into football shape before the Chiefs play the Broncos, and that Broncos defense, arguably the best in the NFL, and I'll get into that shortly. He was definitely missed Sunday night against the Buffalo Bills. That was a game where the Chiefs could have used him. And I'll say this, and I said this during the game on social media. During the 4 games that Simmons had been away from the Chiefs, you could tell they missed him last night. And it's easier to say because of the 4 games he did not play, that was the only game where the Chiefs lost. And in that game, that's where Patrick Mahomes dealt with a lot of pressure. 13 to be exact. 4 of them from Jalen Moore. 4 more from Trey Smith, which is uncharacteristic of him. 3 from Juwan Taylor, who had been playing better lately, but certainly had a bad game against Buffalo. And then a couple of other players, Kingsley Suamataia and Wanye Morris, they each allowed 1 pressure as well. So coming off the worst performance of the season, and I will say this, when you compare it to last year, I think the offensive line is much better this year. But there's a reason why they drafted Josh Simmons. And I know Jalen Moore, the thought was he was going to be the starting left tackle, but they did not expect Simmons to fall as far as he did in the draft. And that worked out very well for the Chiefs because Simmons had been playing great this year, up until he had to step away, of course. And we'll see how he is. And I don't expect him to lose a step or 2 or anything like that. I think he'll back in to his normal form prior to leaving the Kansas City Chiefs and taking care of his personal business. But I think right now, Kansas City certainly needs to improve. 13 pressures. If they allow half of that, I think that could have been a difference maker in this football game. And to be clear, I'm not blaming the game on specifically just that offensive line and maybe specifically the left tackle with Simmons' absence, but his absence was certainly felt. He was definitely missed in that game. Now we'll see what happens moving forward. I know Juwan Taylor suffered an ankle injury, so he had to leave the game a little early. Is there a possibility that Jalen Moore goes from left tackle and shifts over to right tackle? Because in training camp, when Juwan Taylor could not start the first week there, Jalen Moore was getting a lot of the right tackle reps with the ones. So there's a possibility. It might be Jalen Moore or it might be Juwan Taylor. I'm not sure. But this is the best time to get Josh Simmons back because you're about to play arguably the best defense in the NFL in the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos lead the NFL in sacks, and it's not even close. They have 40 sacks on the season. The next closest is Detroit with 28. Now, I understand the Broncos have yet to have a bye week, so they have played 1 more game than most teams so far, but still, 40 sacks. I mean, they are on pace to get 65 or 70 sacks on the season at this rate. You look at who they have, guys like Nick Benito, Zach Allen, Cooper. I mean, they've got all kinds of beasts on that defensive front right there. And this is going to be very important for Kansas City because with the wide receiver trio finally together, Rashee Rice back, Xavier Worthy, he's been back for several games now. Hollywood Brown playing better than I think most people thought. He's certainly been an important piece for Kansas City's offense, even when Worthy and Rice were unavailable earlier in the season. And hopefully Tyquan Thornton can get back and get more involved because we haven't seen much of him since the return of Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. When you look at Kansas City's schedule, I mentioned after the bye week, they've got the Broncos, then they play the Colts. And I know the Colts are coming off a loss, and that final score may not be a fair indication of what really happened in that game, but still lost at the end of the day. And then after that, you play a Dallas team that's not good defensively, but they can put up a lot of points on offense. And then you play the Chargers again, who already got your number earlier in the season, so they've got you 1-0 and the tiebreaker there. Then you play the Broncos again. Got a couple of easy games on the schedule. Houston, a very inconsistent team. The Titans, the Raiders, you've got those games left on your schedule, but Kansas City certainly need their offense in full strength. Unfortunately, right when Rashee Rice was coming back, that was a week before. That's when Josh Simmons had to step away. So we've yet to see the offense with everyone available. And when the Chiefs go visit the Broncos in 13 days, that'll be the first time we see Josh Simmons, Rashee Rice playing together at the same time, excluding preseason games, obviously. So everything we've talked about in the offseason after the draft with the wide receiver trio, and I think with Tyquan Thornton and how he stepped up earlier in the season, and the hope is that he'll get involved in the second half of the season. Josh Simmons, he's now coming back to the team after being away for 4 games. This is what Patrick Mahomes needs right now. And listen, Travis Kelce, he's certainly playing much better this year than last year. He's having a bigger impact on the game. Just look at his yards per catch average. Last year, it was 8.5. Severely the lowest of his career in a single season. It's much higher this season. But Kansas City, getting Josh Simmons back, I think is huge for Patrick Mahomes. And going forward, especially with the Broncos coming up and the Colts, these are 2 games you really need. And I'll even throw Dallas in there because I know a lot of people have their opinions about Dallas and specifically Dak Prescott, but for now, Dallas is one of the better offensive teams in the league. So if you're going to be competing against some of these high-powered teams like the Colts and the Cowboys who've been doing well offensively, I know Denver, there's a lot of inconsistency with their offense, but the one crazy thing about the Broncos is we've seen them light it up in the fourth quarter twice. They scored all those points. I can't remember what it was, 33 points against the Giants. And they also rallied from behind against the Eagles when it looked like the Eagles were about to win that game. So we've seen Denver, although they don't do it consistently, we have seen their offense. And in a low-scoring game against the Texans, they didn't light it up in the fourth quarter, but Bo Nix and that Broncos offense, they marched down the field and they put together a game-winning drive to come back in that game as well. So we know Denver can light it up. They seem to find that spark in the fourth quarter. And in order for the Chiefs to be able to pull off a win, you're going to need all hands on deck. And fortunately, Josh Simmons is back, and hopefully that will improve the protection because Denver's got, without question, the best front 7 in the NFL. They led the league in sacks last year, and they're doing it again this year, and it's not even close. So Kansas City's got to protect Patrick Mahomes in this one. Otherwise, Kansas City could lose their second straight, and that's not something they can afford next week.